Okay, so I'm going to attempt to actually take you through as much as I can in 15 minutes for what I do for a typical photo. So here's something from my album that I'd like to work on, and I'm basically just going to kind of talk you through the process. I actually shot these in JPEG instead of RAW. I shoot in RAW, I would say 99% of the time, and the lighting was okay, blah blah blah. Shot these in JPEG. So we're gonna take this from what I've got here to hopefully some sort of a good finished product. So I have my image that I want to work on. I'm gonna go to Fix. I always just click full edit because I'm used to that from the RAW editor. So we'll get here, and so here's my image, and so you probably saw in a previous cast that one of the first things that I usually like to do is to go in and add some contrast back, but I don't actually need to do that with this one because there is some contrast just because I shot it in JPEG. I didn't pull any contrast out, plus the JPEG, most of you know, adds it already in. So what I'll probably do is to start with something to kind of get a little bit of the reddish out of the skin. It's not too bad, but I would prefer that it was just a little bit less of that orange, kind of orange-red cast. So there are two things that I typically can use. One is the Redness Relief from Coffee Shop Blog, which I've showed you before. And then another one is actually from Wish Photography. There is an action that I use sometimes that works pretty well, and it's called Shy. It's from her Simply Wish, and obviously I'm not going to use it at this strength, but as you can see, it does a really nice job of getting everything out because it has kind of that greenish blue cast to it, so really contrasts with the red and the orange, not just the red, for example. So there are a couple things I could do. What I have been doing is actually just leave this at full strength, but I create a layer mask, which I also got at the Coffee Shop Blog, and then I will paint it all back in. So there it is, and you can see what it looks like with and without. It's quite a big difference. Oh, I have this painted in, so you can't see that right now. And so I'm actually just going to paint this in. Usually I'm between 25 and 35% for something like this, so I'm about where I want to be. And oh, I do this sometimes. Hello, I should look and see where I'm at here. So now I'm where I want to be. You want to have white paint for your black layer, for example. And sometimes I forget to do that. So you can see right away that is making a big difference. And I can go back in and clean that up so it's not over some of the areas I don't want it to be, etc., etc. But you can definitely tell a nice big difference with that, which I love. So this is at a 28% brush. I think it's probably a little hard to tell. Try and do the best that I can with getting it into all the different places, etc. And then probably, yep. Sometimes it's easy to forget things like legs. Now see, I did a sloppy job and you can kind of tell. So I'm going to undo that, and I'll go back with a smaller version of this brush. I can see a little bit of lag in my computer from this. and smaller brush. And you can use the, oh gosh, I don't even know what they're called right now off the top of my head. My brain's not functioning there, but it's the the bracket keys. There you go. The bracket keys will actually make your paintbrush larger and smaller. So I actually just use, you can hold it down, the bracket keys to make this larger and smaller. Isn't that fancy? So I might work on his ears a little bit here. And the other thing though too that I do want to be careful about is, well, first I don't want to take too much out because I do want them to look natural and not like silly, but there is almost a little bit of a green cast down here, just because it wasn't as orange. I think kind of, you know, the lens just picks up that orange hue. Josh Whiting from Josh Whiting Photography was saying that it looks like Snooki. Not that my model here looks like Snooki, but that actually the way that the lens will pick up the orange colors can make sometimes the people that you're photographing look a little bit like Snooki, even though they probably don't look that way. So this is much closer to how this beautiful young lady actually looks, for example. So you can kind of see the difference here. Actually, well, I can see a big difference, but if you're looking at this on YouTube, it's not necessarily super high quality, so it might be a little bit more difficult to see, but big difference. And I like that, so I'm going to keep it, which means I am going to right click and then merge visible. So now it is part of my photo, whether I like it or not. Of course, there's always the undo button, probably our favorite. But there's that. And then just to see, I'm going to go in with also the redness relief and just see about taking a little bit of the red out. So make sure I'm on my layer mask. Make sure I have a white paintbrush. If you get too small with your paintbrush, it does look like a little cross. I don't know if you can see that. It's like a little crosshairs almost. So let's just see, there's a little bit of red kind of in this area. And maybe here. I don't want to take too much out. I do want them to look normal. You'll have a little bit of pink in her skin. So I do that. And I'm still on the same opacity for the brush that I was on before. So this is a 28% opacity. I'm just going to kind of go into the main areas. I don't necessarily need to go into the cracks and the crevices of the eyes, although it is kind of nice to get in there. But go down here, maybe watch the leg. This is the area I'm most interested in seeing a difference with. That actually does look, I think, better, but that's just me. My editing style is not the same as your editing style, I hope, because we're all a little different and we like different things. So this is with the redness relief. I don't quite want to use that much though, so I might actually take this down like 50%. And so there's just a little bit of a difference, not a lot. Maybe a little more. I can always add some warmth later, and I think that'll help too. We'll get to that in a minute. So I merged that. So here we go. There's that. I should probably, might might be nice to have the original open just as a reference point, so you can kind of go back and forth and look between the two. Hurry up, computer, hurry up. Alright, so I don't know where it's at. This is a good time for my computer to decide that it can't figure out what to do. I have an external hard drive, so it's actually the external hard drive that's trying to figure out what to do right now. Well, in the meantime, I won't worry about it. I was just going to show you kind of a difference before and after. So I think the next thing that I might do is, I actually have an action that I like to use from Simply Wish. I would say like 90% of the actions that I have are from Wish Photography. The other maybe 10% max are like the coffee shop blog, her free actions. So go into Wish, I like to do a little bit of Simply usually, so that's kind of nice. I would not use it full strength like that, but I do kind of like what it does. Or sometimes I also really like the effect of Delicate. That's my other favorite. So you can see there's obviously a difference there. I kind of like that one too. Oops, I just played it twice. Silly me. So I'm actually just going to I'll just use Simply just for an example. I like both of them at this point. Kind of do different things. So I might use this at like 33%. But I'd also like to add a little bit more contrast. Maybe brighten it up even just a little bit more. Alright, we'll take a look at that. I like to kind of zoom a little bit and go, do I like it? Do I not like it? So there's that. Let's see if I can get this open again. That was kind of weird. Hello. Picture. Open. Don't know why it's not doing it. This is probably a good point to save. So I would actually save as, go to my edited folder, it's Photoshop, save, call it good. That way if my computer decides to have a heart attack, I'm in a good place. Well, I mean, it's not great for your computer to have a heart attack, but at least I'll have this part of it saved. Alright, so I think, so you can kind of see what that looks like without those, and really Simply I think is kind of just a brightening, contrasting action anyway, and this is just a little bit extra brightness contrast. Some people like brighter, some people don't. That's okay, you are not me and I'm not you. So sometimes when I like to kind of frame the photo a little bit better, I will duplicate the background, multiply, come over here to my marquee tool, and then I'll actually do this, and then it's just a cut and paste action. So Control X, and you can see that that frames the photo pretty nicely there. I might change the frame.